Good morning and welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd Grubb here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program, covering motivation on this year, Monday. And today we're looking at a topic when you are capable, diligent, virtuous, never worry about scarcity, or you never worry about scarcity. So, welcome again. Thanks for being with me here. Let us pray. Father, who art in heaven, I thank you for your word. And this day I pray that you may bless us, dear Lord, as we study together. And may you be with us, dear Father, that we might truly live the life that you have called us to live in praise and in honor and in glory. This is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. So thanks for being with me here as we look at this topic and a new theme. And the topic is when you're capable, diligent, virtuous, having traits, you'll never worry about scarcity. So I'll deal with this very specific point here today with you. And so I want to really encourage your soul to prosper. So notice here in our theme that I've said for this week is how to progress, succeed, and prosper without having a scarcity mindset towards others. So how to progress and succeed and how to progress, succeed, and prosper without having a scarcity mindset towards others. And so the scarcity mindset can affect anyone, but it is more troubling when displayed by people with abundant means. And so if a person acting as if there's a shortage of resources, which is normally a scarcity sometimes comes on when there's war, famine, and pestilence. And if a person is acting or behaving in manner as if there's war, famine, pestilence, then one would say that there's a problem there and there's a deeper psychological issue going on. So I want to be able to deal with this with you here about not having a scarcity mindset and the benefit of overcoming that because it's negative for us when we go through life in a scarce, as if there's scarce resources and everything is going to run out on us. And we want to be able to be as the opposite, an abundant mindset where we think that there's so much there and whatever it is that we must be able to live a prosperous life. So again, how to prosper, succeed, and progress without having a scarcity mindset and to have the opposite of that, which is an abundant mindset. And so the concept of a scarcity mindset, I found this definition. I was looking at a few definition online of how to define a scarcity mindset, and I found this person being quoted, a psychologist, I think from Washington, some university, Washington University or something. And she stated that Tabitha Kirkland states that a scarcity mindset is when you believe there are limited resources. So if someone else has something, you feel there is less of that resource available for you. So they took up probably too much. If somebody have something, you'd be like, oh man, if they have, then there's less for me. All right. And so that's a scarcity mindset. That's a good definition. There's multiple definitions, but I thought this one encapsulated real quickly. The psychologist here. So it's a mental issue. It's a psychological issue that must be dealt with. And so in life, as you go through life, and this week as I go through my different days, I'll do finance, yes, tomorrow, health, and various different things, social. You find in relationships and anything, one can have this kind of scarcity mindset. So I'll deal with some things, how to deal with scarcity mindset. So the first up, I want to get straight into it, and I'm going to deal with Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10 through 31, and then I'm going to give you some mental ways of dealing with scarcity mindset to not go around in life thinking that there's not enough to go around for all of us. And when you quickly find out as I go through Proverbs that if you follow this mentality, which is where I get my topic from, when you are capable, virtuous, diligent, virtuous, you never worry about scarcity because you produce. You're a producer. From out of you shall flow rivers of living water. So let's go through this now before I go through some things that one must do and behavior that one must take. And then as I go through the week, I'll drill down into each of these behavior when it comes on to what's going on in society, in the broader world, when it comes on to current events and how people act in that scarcity mindset, and how a person who have a lot of resources, when they act in a scarcity mindset, it is very troubling because they have more than hearts can desire, more than they can ever use, and yet their behavior is that they're broke and they're falling apart and there's no resources and the earth cannot sustain two of us on it because it's only one earth and only one of them. And it's very crazy. So a lot of the war, famine, and pestilence we see is not based because there's not enough in this world. It's based because people act as if there's not enough in this world. So my main text will be now Proverbs 31, verse 10. Proverbs 31, verse 10 will be my main text. But Proverbs 31 will be the text that I use today for explaining why is it that if you are capable, is it that if you're diligent, and why is it if you're virtue, hard to come sometimes nailed on what it is and how it's used here, but virtue meaning you have traits, certain traits. Once we have this, then you never have to worry about scarcity. So the scarcity is also often the person, not so much the mindset. I'll explain in a second. So Proverbs 31 verse 10 first, before I read the rest of it. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. All right, so that's Proverbs 31:10. So this is a major text. You normally could read this and say, it's going to describe a virtuous woman. So notice there, if you look in your understanding of the word virtuous, and especially the original word, you'll find very quickly that it seemed not even the word virtues seemed not to translate properly this word here, right? Because sometimes this word has to do with courage, valiant, and so forth. So I think Holman translation renders this. I'm just saying off my head now. So Holman Bible translation rendered this a capable woman. Very interesting. So so why would I go looking for this? Because what Proverbs 31 describe per se, the word virtue, especially the way we use it modernly, I don't think capture. That's my opinion. I don't think capture the everything that comes after. So in other words, what is being described, the word virtue, unless you just use the word virtue as being traits, certain traits, would not properly describe the other verses. So in other words, I'm gonna read it through, and you'll see, all your thoughts per se, and follow me what I'm saying. So what is being described, the characteristics of the woman, the word virtuous would not be this, would not, I would not think is a proper use to capture what is asking to look for. So if you just read verse 10 and then saying, okay, I'm gonna look for a wife, like verse 10, you're looking for somebody with characteristics that they're honest, they're so forth. They're honest, they have dignity, they have integrity, so forth. So that's good. It's good to find a female like that. If you're a man looking for a woman, if you're a woman looking for a guy, that's is probably tantamount that you find somebody with some virtues. But what it goes on and describe now, and I'll show you this right here, is it describe a female that's very capable and a female that has talents and skills. So it describes somebody else. So that's why I would have to look and say, well, let's see how other translators translated. And Holman Bible and another one or two Bibles translated diligent or capable. And when you read Proverbs chapter 31, and I'm gonna read it through with you, and you'll see you'll be describing not so much a woman that is honorable per se, because that you would say that she's honorable. And as I say, the trick there, you have to go look in the original language, and you'll see that word. You realize that word doesn't really capture virtuous. I don't know why they choose virtuous to renders this word in English, because virtue means trait. So it's true she have traits, but it doesn't describe what type of traits. Because you say, well, virtue would mean good quality traits. But I would say it also captures the word, what would we say, capable or diligent, in my understanding, would capture what we're going to read next. Because this woman is very capable of, and I don't know if capable, but very skillful, or she twist and turn. So if she get caught into this situation or something happening, or she see opportunity, she grab it. That's a trait. One of the meaning of virtue. It's a trait, but what type of trait? A trait that is very capable, very diligent. She's a capable person. So that's how I would add those other ways to describe as I say, Proverbs chapter 10, verse Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10, because there is a kahil, I think is the word that is originally used, and it says whether of means or other resources. So and it could mean even wealth, and it could mean that person is actively and able, right? So, but so it's used in various different forms. That it could be virtue is a word that's used there, but that word also could be of wealth, could be of power, riches, and so forth. So it's a broader meaning than what normally, as I'm saying, normally what we use in our modern um, vernacular wording for the word virtue. So it's a richer word there because it's saying, man, she's brave, she's strong, she has resources. So to me, capable. The virtue just mean traits. But what kind of traits? So let's read it, right? And see what I'm hemming and hawing about. Now, why is that important? Because remember, this week we're talking about how to progress, prosper, how to progress and prosper, how to succeed in this life. Now, how you succeed in life and not to have a scarcity mindset. Well, if you can produce things, I'm saying upfront to you, if you can produce and you can make something out of nothing, so to speak, if you have raw material, you can make a material with it, you're not worried about resources and lack of resources and stuff like that because you are making it happen. So because you're capable and you're diligent and you're virtuous, meaning traits, good characteristics. You don't have to worry about, oh, there's shortages. The shortages happen to people who are in there themselves have not much. They themselves have not much to offer. And so what they have to do is develop. And when you develop and you can basically produce something, you're not worried about somebody stealing the show because you realize in this life, there's people who are rich and abundant in certain capabilities that they never have to worry about scarcity. And they don't have to worry about whatever it is because, again, if you can farm, you can do, carpentry, plumbing, blah, blah, blah. You're not worried about that there's lack of resources because you can create your own resource. You can make something out of nothing, as I say. Or you can, when I was young, they'll say you can take your hand and make fashion, right? And so if you can make the fashion, then there's not a lot of scarcity in your mind because you yourself are have resources. Resources are your skills and your behavior and so forth. So let's now read it now. And if see now what I've said so far, if the context, where something we learn in the contextual, something is natural, we can naturally look at it and we can say, oh, I see what they're saying. If you just use the word traits as virtue, I can say, okay, I see what they use the word whatever. But in our modern way, we normally say virtues mean character. So let's move on. You probably hear me say this enough, but I've proved my point sometime. So you have to bear with me. So notice here, who can find a virtuous woman, or who can find a capable, diligent woman? A virtuous, capable, diligent woman. That's what you're looking for, and that's what you're looking for in a male also. You're never going to worry, oh man, we run out of resources here. No. This woman here, she can do multiple things. The more things you can do, more talent, you never have to worry about, oh man, somebody's going to steal my show. Somebody's going to take something from me. How are they going to take something from you? They don't have enough skills. You have all the skills that they need to be and more. For our price is far above rubies. So this is why you can see now you could translate this capable, diligent, whatever. You could translate this, the other meaning of that word, that word Cahill or whatever it is called Cahill, or it's translated now riches, because she's literally, and you're going to read it, our value is high. So if your value is high, she have more than abundance. This is how you want to have an abundant experience in your life. You want to be able to, you can make money. You're like, just a little thing that makes money. You just make money, you make resources, you make stuff. That's what you do. Never have to worry about resources. For a price is far above rubies. So yeah, value, big value. So this is not spiritual now. This is literal. This is a literal text. Her price is literal far above rubies. Why? Well, notice. The heart of her husband does safely trust her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. So what is spoil? Spoil is where somebody do war of conquest. They have to go somewhere, rob, fight a war to be able to rob resources. So if you have a wife, and it could be this flip, they have a husband that has multiple skills, you don't have to worry about, oh man, we're gonna be begging bread. That's see, and then you start developing a scarcity mindset. Now, what is a scarcity mindset? Scarcity mindset again is when you believe there's limited resources. Why? Because some people there are limited resources. So if someone has something, you feel there is less of that resource available to you. See, that's a scarcity mindset. You see what I'm gonna weave through this as we go through this week. So the husband of need not know spoil. What is the spoil again? A spoil is when you go to war to rob something, and it's war of conquest. Or spoil is when you go rob your neighbor, rob somebody in the community, rob a store or whatever. You have to do something. You have to cheat in business because you have limited resources. So a person who have a wife, and I would say now a husband, who can find a virtuous man, or a man that is capable, or a man that is diligent. So I throw in this here. Hopefully, I'm not modeling the test by using a guy here, but literally, if you female listen to me, you're looking for a husband. You're looking for a husband that's capable, a husband that's diligent. He's gonna be there. So that means that you never have to worry about you have to do something criminal or underhanded to get some resources because there's an abundant amount of resources. If there's not, the person is going to be able to make it for you. So the husband don't have to. So notice again, we still back at this thing about resources, because spoil is somebody stealing what to make up a lack. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Why? Because and the text going to tell you she's not eating the bread of idleness. A person's idle, that means they're not busy. But you want to be like a hamster. You're just running, 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 but you're creating electricity. You're not running in people's business. So she's busy doing stuff. She's busy making money. She's busy cooking food, making food, selling food, making clothes, selling clothes. She's busy like that. So they're not there. They're not going to have a scarcity mindset. So this is one of the first things I want to say to you here as we start the week. That when you're busy and you're doing your thing, so to speak, you're never going to have to worry about resources. People worry about resources is because they have a wrong mindset. They're living as if they're in a war, famine, pestilence, and they're going to be starving. And they're acting as if they're probably in World War One, World War Two, probably some wars, and they have embargoes on them, and that's how they're living. But I tell you, this will fix any country on the embargo, any poor person in any poor area. Because the moment you have this, you realize, oh, I don't have to per se have resources. I have to make the resources. So notice here, she seeketh wool, flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. So she's putting in the labor. So when you're putting in the work and you have the skill, because remember, a diligent person here now is somebody that has the skill, capable, diligent, virtuous. She's creating it. Is our husband going to be able to whatever is our if it's a wife situation? Is the wife going to be able to think this is not going to happen? Person go make it happen. So they have to think, oh man, if I don't get this opportunity, if I don't get this job, no, you don't worry about that, because if you have skills, you might lose a job. You might not get that. There's a job and a job opening and you didn't get the job. You don't feel devastated because listen, as long as I can do this work, as long as I can use a hammer, as long as I can use I use a pliers, as long as I can use a microscope, a test tube, whatever it is, whatever job you're working, as long as I can read amps and volts and stuff like that, I'll never be without a job because I'm diligent, and I have capabilities. So you're not worried about it. But if you lose that job, oh man, I lose that opportunity. Well, there's good help is hard to find. See, that's how I look at life. So if you're good and you have virtue, this is where that virtue would come in. I say, okay, you might be without a job for a while, for a little bit, for a while, whatever it is. But you're going to get a job sooner or later. So you're not scared. Because good help is hard. And you go through life, you're like, listen, good help is hard to find. So, but when you're in a situation where, oh, this is my only job and whatever, and if they fire me, so you panic. But she's not panicking because she's an entrepreneur. So she seeketh wool, raw material, and flax, raw material, and work it willingly with her hand. See, she is like a merchant ship. She bringeth her food from afar. So when she come in, it's a ship laden with goods. She not gonna have no scarcity mindset because she's capable. See, so this is what I'm saying. When you say virtue, virtue would mean what is you would think what is going to describe is a person. So in other words, when you read the word virtue, what you get from there is it's going to describe somebody that is nice and kind and happy and smiling and very polite and stuff like that. But the text immediately goes into, oh no, this woman here making money. And so that's why when you look at it, you say, well, why would they use the word vert? And you go on like Holman translation, different translation. I'm not encouraging you to read a translation. I read a King James version, I read New King James version, and I look at different translation. So I just want to get a three-dimensional view of what was the original thinking of the author. What was he thinking when he writes this? And why did he choose this word? That has to do with valor. That has to do with, being brave, have resources, riches. Because it's going to describe someone that's rich. Because she's going to be rich because she's going to create it. She's a merchant ship. Imagine you see a female coming, or a guy, but just use a female, since that's what Solomon is writing. It's a male writing this. And you're looking at the female, and you look at her, and what you see in your mind, you got a word picture. And what is word picture when he sees this woman is that, man, she's like a ship coming in with goods. You see, she coming in on the sea to the port, and she's going to offload all her goods, and people going to buy that goods. She has the resources, but she is resourceful. See, she's not scared of losing resource or losing opportunity, because she is the opportunity. And so it described this to you. And this is when you get into this mindset, you realize, oh no, I'm never gonna be without. I could have some bad times. I said the ship probably could, one ship could have sink or whatever. A bad day could happen at sea. But the ship is coming in, and she's coming in like a ship. So notice here, she's like a merchant ship. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. Now somebody said, wait a minute now. If she have somebody working for her, why is she taking care of them? Well, she's like an entrepreneur. She's like a small business or a large business who people depend upon her for their livelihood. So, as the Bible described, Paul described it best. He says it's better to give than to receive, because the person who's in the given situation is in the better situation. She has the resources, but she's getting up early in the morning. So, if you're in that mindset, you don't worry about it, because you're not even going to eat first. You have the control over the food. You have the food, and everybody's dependent upon you for the food. And so when you're in that mindset, you're good. This is the mind. That's how you prosper in this life. That's how you move forward. That's how you grow in this life. You have the control, so to speak. That's how you progress. So notice here, she considered a field and bought it, and with the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard. Notice again, we're drilling down. This woman here is a capable woman, right? This woman here, literally, she can say, oh no, I'll go buy the clothing and I'll go sew a dress. Then I'm going to sell the dress. And I'm going to sew the dress probably for 3 years. I'm sew dresses, sew pants, sew robes. Let's go back in time. And she's creating, then she takes the money from that, and she can feed her household. And she can feed the other ladies that she has with her that's making those robes. And then after she make a certain amount of robes, she go right ahead and she say, man, I'm going to use this money now. I'm going to buy a field. I'm going to turn a farmer. I'm going to plant the field. Because remember, she's a merchant ship. So here we're describing somebody that, again, there might be resources that somebody look at and say, oh no, we running out of food or running out of whatever. And she'd be like, no, I'll buy a field and plant. I'm going to sell you all food. You'll always progress when you're in this mindset. So far, she works with her hand. She can cook and help and feed the family. And now, what she's doing now, she now have a vineyard, right? And she gonna get that's the fruit of her hands. With the fruit of her hands, somebody said, Lloyd, but the hands can't produce fruit. Yes, it can. The work that you're gonna do today as you listen to me and go to work, or if you're already at work, or you're coming from work if you work night shift, what's going to happen is that that's the fruit of your hand. So when somebody sees and they see you and your car, your house, your clothing, that's a fruit of your hand. You're just showing, I did the work, and this is what I have for the work, the money in the bank. But somebody else is broke. I'm not talking about someone that's disabled or old. I'm talking about someone that's able-bodied, and they're broke and they have nothing, and they worried about resources. But they have too much time on their hand. They have too much idle time to think. If they were busy doing this, they wouldn't have to worry about resources. The resources come because remember, good help is hard to find. And this woman here, forget about this. She needs good help. She's not the good person that's trying to find somebody to help. She is the help. She is the good help. So notice here, she planted a vineyard. She girded her loins with strength and strengthened our arms. So that's why we look at, as I said, the original word describe her better. Riches, resources, valor. Because it's brave. Because if you know, every business you're going to do, you are putting time, emotions, money at risk, and you could fail and sometimes fail. And if you do business, you realize that sometimes you fail. Not everything you go into will prosper because as the Bible says, you don't know which will prosper, but you sow your seed beside many waters. And the ones that will prosper will pay you for the ones that will fail. But not everything you want to do in this life will prosper. But she girded her loins with strength. You have to strengthen yourself when you're doing this type of stuff because not everything will work out. Sometimes you will suffer losses. But again, when success happens, the success always outdo the losses. If you're diligent, as I say, and capable, I'm not saying if you're making crazy decisions and you're like a gambler, that you're taking risks that are ridiculous risk, you will always suffer major loss. Notice we continue with this lady here. Verse 18 says, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good, her candle goeth out not at night. So two clauses there. First, before the colon. She perceiveth her merchandise is good. So she's capable then. You can see that. She has a judgment. He's describing, and you have to know this. You have to know when your product is good. I don't care what you've been. Somebody could say, Lloyd, I say I'm in the entertainment business. Okay, it's still a business. People are either bored or they're depressed and they need someone to liven them up. So you're supposed to know, is this good material or not, right? It is just so. I'm sure you've been in walking in the street and you see somebody juggling something, whatever they're juggling. Well, they must know if they should know at least that if their juggling is worth enough that they can stay on the side of the street and make enough money to pay their bills, right? That's what it is, right? Even something simple as that. I'm not encouraging you to go be a juggler and to work on the side of the street like that. But even that person has to know somebody gonna be so impressed with what they're doing that they're gonna say, "Oh, here's a tip. Here's $5. You made my day. You made me feel good. I don't know why." But one has to know what the value of what one doing, and she perceives it. Now, she could perceive it all she want, but that perception has to be matched with what? That person have to be matched with somebody buying the products, right? So she perceives her merchandise is good. But here's the result now. Her candle goeth not out at night. So what's happening there? She getting some resources from her work, from her merchandise, from whatever, because all merchandising. Whether she planting a vineyard, she's getting some raw material, the flax, the wool, and she making up a clothing, whatever she's doing. She has to perceive that, say, I'm going to do this. I'm a merchandise and come out so good because I'm capable. And I'm diligent because she will stay up get up early in the morning and do what she has to do. That the end result of what she's doing will end up making sure that her candle, in our time, it would be your electricity or your gas or your oil, is going to keep flowing. Why? Because that's good help is hard to find. So as long as you can put in that work, as long as you're diligent and you have that capable skill, you'll be all right. You don't have to worry about it. So her candle doesn't go. That means that she's getting a result. She's not just perceiving. Because one thing for you to have an opinion and then somebody come out and say, that product is not good. It's a total other thing where you get the reward of your labor. So notice here, she laid her hand on a spindle and her hand hold the distaff. She stretched out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reached forth her hand to the needy. So there you go. There you have it. So she's not worried about some poor person. She's thinking more about helping the poor person. So the resources, she has more. Her cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy followed her. So far, this is not when you would say, if the translators renders it virtuous, it would come in because now she's showing character, another part of her character. So the first part is laziness, capable. She's not lazy, she's capable, so forth. This other part now, she's not worried about it. You see, a person that is, what you call it, here, scarcity mindset, that person is worried about resources. She has more than heart content that she can say, here you go, and give it to people who have real needy people now, who have a lack of resources. Does that make sense? So you want to be in a place where your capabilities, your character, all of that makes it that you have more than you can take care of your business, and you have some to help the real poor. Because there's people who are jokers, they're lazy, but there's people who are really poor and they need help. And you have enough, you don't have to worry about, somebody taking from me. And a lot of time you see, as I say, I'll deal with it in Thursday, but you see international affairs, national affairs, current event stuff that I talk about. What are you really dealing with is people who has resources, but they have a scarcity mindset because they worry somebody's going to take something from them. Or there's not, they'll say, well, if the world keep modernizing, we might not have enough oil. We have to fight for it. Or, that's a scarcity mindset. But when you're not in a scarcity mindset, you say, what are you talking about? There's more than enough. there's more than enough for all of us. It's the way you look at it, right? When you look at it. So she stretched out her hands and to the poor, yea, she reached forth her hands to the needy. She's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed in scarlet. So again, you if you listen to me and you live in the snow, you can understand why this is so. But if you listen to me and you live in the warm, you can understand where she, you could flip this and say, well, she's not afraid of what do you call it, the summer heat, or a summer heat. She's not afraid of 100 and something degrees weather. And somebody said, why? Oh, because she can run her AC full blast. No matter how whatever, because she's good, right? But somebody who, oh no, there's not enough. The grid can't handle it. Somebody said, we mean the grid system, electrical grid can't handle when there's a heat wave, right? 100 and something degrees. And then she just said, listen, I buy solar. When the grid is down, I just run I run my AC off my solar. I can have a backup generator. I don't worry about what they're doing. But I can do enough electrical grid, solar panel that I don't even need the electric grid. And then I use backup battery and so forth. Because there's more resources. But when you're thinking, oh no, we have to fight over these resources, you realize, oh, they have a scarcity mindset. They don't see that there's wind and that there's solar and that there's hydro and that literally there's nuclear from uranium and that there's other things that people are working on, and we just probably need to work on those things. But we're scared, oh no, we got to fight over this. And we're like, why are we fighting over it? It's like, we don't need to. There's inventions that are constantly coming up. You just can't see. But she will like, we're going to invent something that's more energy efficient. See, it's a different mindset. So notice here, she's not afraid of the snow for her household, right? And that's just a thing because she said, I'll take care of that. For all our household are clothed in scarlet. I was seeing this video where they made a robot, automatic robot that can be controlled by remote control or controlled by automation that can clean snow. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. That's very interesting. It's just don't worry about it. Like, but people are like, oh, what we gonna do? Like, man, think. Just don't worry about it. So she make herself covering of tapestry for, no, sorry, her clothing is silk and purple. So I can't remember what purple is. Anyhow, but her clothing is silk, right? And so if you look at it, she wearing the best. Even today, if you're wearing silk, you're wearing the best, right? And so she good. So notice here, so far what we've read, except for verse 20, where it says she stretched out her hand to the poor. All of the verses are just describing a lady that's very resourceful. She's very resourceful. Probably that's why I should have put in the topic also. She's very resourceful, very capable, and she's very diligent, and she's very virtuous. All of you probably do four or five, six words to describe what she is. But primarily you talk about the resources and the capability and stuff like that. So she's not resource starved. She actually have enough resources, can give some of her resources away. All right. So her husband is known in the gates when he's sitting among the elders of the land. So imagine now her husband literally go to the gate. These people used to have city states, and her husband turn up at the gate of the city, and he's gonna sit there and talk to them. And all the other men looking at him, and they see him and they look at him as, oh yeah, he's that guy that's married to that woman that she killing it, as they say in our society. She's taking care of the business all day long. She has all kind of, she has a farm, she make clothing, she sell food, she does this, she does that. And look at him, he's dressed in silk and purple, and he has linen, and he has wool. He has the finest clothes, and he's doing well. He looks good. And they say, man, she's taking care of him. See, so he's not broke. So far yet, we're still talking about resources. It's a very resourceful female. This is not a scarcity environment. So when he comes to the gate and he starts talking, when he talks, he worry at some value. Because what happened? He dressed well. He dressed nice. All right. He looks good. He look like, man, she taking care of you. Right? But you see, he no spoil. So when he come and he talk, they're not thinking, oh, but he's just robbed somebody store, or rob the bank, or lie to get a loan, or none of that. He comes and like, no, my wife taking care of business. And so when he talk, they have to listen to him, because the elders have to say, yeah, man, that's such and such husband. you know, that's a different experience. That's not a scarcity mindset. That's oh man, we run into resources. I'm like, man, we have enough. You were, listen, if you living like that, you have a wife like that, or you're the husband that is like that. You ain't worry about what somebody else is gonna come up, because you don't have the capabilities you have. You're living high above the society. So this is what we want to be able to live like. And so we don't have to worry about, oh man, I can't pay the bills. They're gonna turn off the electricity, in the middle of winter, and now I can't do what I have to do. I'm gonna have to call the state, because the state need to give me some free electricity. Because you don't have to live like that, because you be like, no, my wife take care of business. I'm wearing silk here. You know what I'm saying? Not fake silk. I think Rihanna is fake silk. You're in real silk. So notice here, she maketh fine linen and selleth it, and deliver girdles unto her merchant. So she is the wholesaler, I guess. She's a manufacturer, and she's have somebody that's selling it. So she's taking care of business. You'd look at this description, and you look at somebody that's living like this in our society today, having this type of business, multiple business, farm, because she's doing farming, she's doing all kind of stuff. And anybody living like this, they're doing well for themselves. Yes or no? They're doing well for themselves. Resources is not a problem. Notice when I was younger, these people used to talk about. I hope I'm not jumping ahead too fast here, but talk about the globalists. That's what I would say. One especially from Texas, he will always the globalists. And I'm thinking, who is he talking about? What globalists? And then that's how I realized he's talking about people who have they have so much business inside of America, outside of America, that they're globalists, because they operate in a global level. You think they worry about the resources? And if they do, they're scary, because they're worrying about resources, and that means that they have a psychological problem. Because normally a person that operate like that, they have more than our hearts can desire to spend. They can't spend the amount of money they make in a year, and that's a fact. If you doing business and you can take your product from India, China, somewhere in Africa, somewhere in South America, by the container load, I think you're okay. You have enough resources that your husband can, as I said, wear purple and silk and stuff like that, probably to go even to the gym. You're doing well. Um, no, that's what it is. And so if you're that type of person, you don't have to worry about like, somebody if they're single, oh they worry about, oh man, how somebody is have a spouse and they don't have a spouse. Because you're not resourceful. You're not virtuous. Virtue also mean, we're not going to take away the meaning from virtue, mean character. A person that's loving and lovable and a person have resources and very capable, you're probably going to be single, but not for too long. It's like, yeah, somebody need a nice house and some nice clothing. So notice here, strength and honor are clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She gonna get the reward. Well, let's keep reading because time is running. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. So that's why I say virtue, which is trait, can normally be viewed as whatever. But here, virtue is also character. Virtue is also resource. Virtue is being capable. Virtue is being valiant because you have to be valiant to do business. Virtue is being diligent. She's in it, on it, on it, on it. So she keep going. This is what we need to be. Husband or wife, doesn't matter. In her mouth is a law of kindness. So when she speak, you don't be like, oh man, I just feel depressed. I just feel, man, this person is harsh. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. So she can get up before there's the sunrise and even make sure that her workers are fed. She good. She can clothe her family. That means she not busy. I've dealt with people. Remember, there was somebody I was dealing with, and somebody, another person said, the problem is that this person doesn't work. That's the problem. They don't go to work in the daytime. They're not busy, so they have problems that they don't need to. And this can be for a poor person. This can be for a rich person. There's rich people who they probably inherit the money or they made too much money too quick, and now they idle and they start doing all kind of crazy stuff. And you're like, why are they doing that? That stuff seems so how would I say, risky that they almost gonna risk their life. You be like, they have a rich people problem. All the time when people have certain problems, you have to look at it. They have too much money for their own good, so they do dumb stuff. But she doesn't eat the bread of idleness. When you're busy, there's a lot of problems that goes away because, well, it doesn't go away per se. You just can't deal with them sometimes in the sense of you can't worry about certain things because you have to busy go out there, make your money. Life start becoming like a video game. What a video game is just you're trying to kill it all day long. You try to win, but there's people winning at video games, or they're winning at soap opera or some kind of reality TV. But when you're busy trying to do stuff and make stuff happen, you don't have no time for that because, man, that's valuable time. How you gonna spend time watching reality TV when you're supposed to be out there trying to get a container from China or India or somewhere in South America or the Caribbean? You need to get your container load of merchandise and then sell that. You don't have time for that. And so that's what it is. So you're looking for a husband or a wife. You're looking for somebody who's trying to bring in their literal products by the container load. And, probably people going to say they're globalists. They're the globalists. But hey, listen, probably it's better to marry to a globalist. I don't know. These people are silly. So she looked to the way. She looked to the way of her household and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed because she is blessed. She not idler, not broke. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Of course, he gonna praise her. Man can go in the gate and talk to the elders dressed in silk. I mean, who does that? Like, I don't. I dress in. I don't even too like silk. It feels too. I don't know. I feel like you can't sweat in it. I feel like something you wear to some one of the clown shows where you go with people in tuxedo and stuff like that. I prefer cotton. So or wool or linen or something like that. Her children arise up and call her blessed, and her husband also, and he praiseth her. Yeah, right. Yeah, he definitely praising her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excelleth them all. So listen now, she's on top of the food chain. If she's on top of the food chain, she ain't worry about no resources. She ain't worry about no somebody making minimum wage gonna take your job. Who worry about those things, right? You think some of these globalists are people that, as I say, they're merchant ship. They literally own the ship. You think they're worried about some poor scab come and taking their job? They don't worry about that. You see, people who talk like that, they're people, they're probably broke. If you have resort and you have skill, I remember I work with a guy and he said, Lord, listen, I can use a hammer. I said, you can use a hammer, okay. And he said, listen, as long as I can use this hammer, I'll never be broke. I always have money. And I'm like, really? He said, yeah. And I've thought about it over the years and I say, yeah, he's right. it's always something broke. I don't know about you, but there's always something that go bad. And if you can use a screwdriver, a hammer, a pliers, a snippet, whatever it is, a snip, like where you used to do siding, you'll never be broke. There's always a house that need new siding. There's always a roof that need replacing. There's always something that needs building. So you can, if you can use some tools, you'll never be broke. You never worry about somebody that have no skills and they oh man, they're gonna have to come in and do a minimum wage job. Who's worried about that? It's people that have no capabilities, right? And so if you have the opportunity to develop some capabilities, I would say go back to a trade school, go back to community college, go back to whatever, go temp with somebody with skill, go whatever. Just so develop your resources, learn a new skill. Always learn a new skill. Well, to me in life, you always learn a new skill. I say you can learn a new skill every 10 years. So by the time you reach 50, should have had 3 skills minimum, I think. And by the time you reach 60, you should have 4 skills minimum. Just go learn a new skill every 10 years. Somebody say, why would I do that? Because you want to be capable. You want to be resourceful. You want to be able to know to do different things. The more you can do this, you'll never be hungry. You just never have want. And you'll never look at somebody else and they're like, oh, they have something and I don't have. Nah. You don't live like that. Life is better this way anyhow. So that's what I'm teaching. And that's what I'm trying to live. Notice many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excel at them all. So you want to be at the top of the food chain. This is what I'm preaching here. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. It might not hurt, but it's vain. Might be good to look at. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. So notice it's saying you can have favor, but if you live your life on favor, where somebody have to be favorite to you, that's why a lot of people run into problem. People might be personally or a group that they're the favored people, favored race. That runs thin quick. It's better to have skill and capability. It's better to make sure that you can literally not have somebody open the door for you, but you can put the door on, and then you can put a lock on the door, and you can set it up and make sure it's aligned, and it can be closed, and then you hand the key to the person hand you money. See, favor is that somebody have to give you oblige or give you a opportunity. The person that literally can put the door on don't need somebody to open the door for them, because the person that need to open the door for them have to call them to put on the door. You want to be the person that put the door on, then get the lock and install the lock, and then give the key to the person that need to open the door for somebody they're going to give favor to. Now, do you want favor in this life? Yeah. You want to be blessed? Yeah. You want somebody to give you opportunity? Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's better for you to be able to put on a door. And if you get to a point now where you not only put the door on and install the lock, but you build a house that the person going to have to live in that needs to open the door, or build a business, aren't you in a better situation? I would say be in a better situation that you can build a house, install the door, and put on a lock, and then let the person giving favor live in the house. But they're going to pay you, and they're going to pay you, and they're going to really pay you because they have to pay you a lot. You see? So favor is deceitful. Because sometimes when people give you a favor, you owe them something, right? And so in this life, when you put it on the door, you don't owe you something. They're paying you for something. So there's no deceit in it because it's good work and you're being paid for good work. Beauty is vain, especially when you start getting older and the cracks start to show. That's when the skills have value. When you have skills, man, that's better. But if you have skill and it's beautiful, I guess that's even better. But you need to have some skills. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. She shall be praised. So, virtuous woman, resourceful woman, a capable woman, a diligent woman, she shall be praised because she fears the Lord. So then it's telling you that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Well, good understanding of they that fear the Lord, right? So if this is all it, then it's telling you that a woman that fears the Lord is a woman that is capable, that's resourceful, that's diligent. Now, when you take that for myself because I read it. This is one of the texts I use to guide me along into what I need to do to be very resourceful. I just develop skills. And as each 10 year you develop a new skill, you're good. Because that skill, you always have it as long as life lasts. As long as your brain working, your body's working, right? So when you're capable and when you're diligent, virtuous, resourceful, you never worry about scarcity. You never worry about some poor person going to take your place or somebody have a spouse and you don't have a spouse. You get your spouse. You're good, right? There's a lot of people out there have a spouse and it's not because they're beautiful. Come on now. They're handsome now. It's not because somebody gave them favor. It's because of their job. Let's be clear. It's because they have resources. You know, somebody say you're saying they buy their spouse. I'm not saying they buy their spouse, but the spouse probably choose them because they probably want to wear silk and purple. They probably want to drive, and as somebody said to me, said their buttocks always go in a leather seat in a car. I was like, really? A cloth seat can be good too, right? But again, and that person paid for their own vehicle, but that's how they're rolling. They say. So I say, okay. So there's people who want to roll like that, and they might not choose somebody that's beautiful, choose somebody that have favor. They might say, I'm going to go with a spouse that has resources, male and female. But here the Bible is not describing a male with resources, describing a female with resources. And when you understand she don't have a scarcity mindset. And if you're a male or a female and you understand that, then you don't have to worry about, I can't have friends. Remember, friends will come because they want to roll with you. They want to go on vacation with you and you're paying. So again, who's gonna go with that? You have a friend that say, listen, I'm going to wherever you fill in the blank, whatever resort place people go to. And I want to take you with that person. Like, oh no, I'll be your friend because I'm coming, right? Are you paying? Yeah, I'll come in. You see, it is because human being at the end of the day is carnal, and all the time this is just a fact. So notice here, our husband is talking nice about her. So notice here, give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gate. Not just the husband, but her works. Because when somebody's going on the street and they walk in and they have her clothing on, that's her works praising her. But she had the money for that, and then she go buy a field. Probably in the summertime, she spend her time at her summer farm. And that's what we want to do. So this person here has no, oh man, there's resources burning out. So some of the methods I'm going to go through this week with you, I'm going to summarize them here for the next few minutes to help us to not have a scarcity mindset, but a mindset of abundance. And so the next 4 days after this, I'm going to flesh these out for you. So I'll start tomorrow with finance. So a scarcity mindset, let's go back to our definition here by this lady, Tabitha, I think her name was. And is a scarcity mindset is when you believe there are limited resources. So if someone else has something, you feel there's less of that resource available for you. But there's no such thing if you're in the right mindset, because you can do something. There's always an option out there. And when things at one door closes, you don't, oh, one door closed, I'm scared. You're like, nah, you don't get depressed over stuff like that because, yeah, you'll be good. So some of the methods you deal with, that I'm going to deal with now for the next few minutes, is choose courage over fear. So notice when you look at the word again, virtue, one of the first things come to you is being valiant. When you're fearful, you tend to shrink, get depressed, feel like, oh man, everything is lost. When you're courageous, you make you push forward and you take chances, probability chances, high probability chances. And you put your energy, your heart, your money, your effort into open up doors, as I say, even install the door yourself. So we get to that again. So fear is your fear of, losing a friend. Fear is what, you're not thinking, I can gain more friends. Your fear, okay, I'm gonna lose a friend. Fear is I'm gonna lose money, so forth. So you choose courage over fear because that's a skill itself to do that. Pace yourself. I always notice when people go at life where they feel like they have to get all at everything. They make many blunders and they do life very terrible. Pace yourself, not just with your food. It's you have to pace yourself. Like if you see somebody clearing the table, right, and you see somebody clearing the table, and um, you understand. Listen, somebody said this thing to me years back. He said to me, you can approach your table as if this is not your last meal, right? You're gonna be able to eat another meal. So so this is where it's scarce, and because today's the last meal. This is not your last meal. So if you approach life like today's not your last meal, your breakfast is not your last meal, your lunch is not your last meal. You can take that principle now apply it to life, because as I say, I've known people every meal they're eating as if there's going to be a famine next year, or famine this year or next week. So they have to bulk up on so much food that they have to me it's a scarcity mindset, because they're eating as if they're preparing for winter, and every year you see them, they look like they constantly prepare for winter, and so you don't approach your food like that. But you don't approach life like that, because people live life like that. They live in such a scarcity mindset that you think we're about to go into war, famine, pestilence. As a matter of fact, I used to watch people in the past that are preppers. Preppers are constantly worried about war, famine, pestilence, the apocalypse, and stuff like that. I'm not saying bad things don't happen. Hurricane, tornadoes, the bad things happen. But man, you can't go through life all day long. Every year, you constantly, worried that things are going to collapse. Man, you gotta live some life. So you can't, that to me, that can create a scarcity mindset. When you start hoarding stuff, hoarders to me are a fascinating mental illness. So tomorrow is not promised, but there is a high probability that you might live for tomorrow. So you live life, pace yourself. Assume that, you're going to die, you're going to die. You don't have no control over that anyhow for the most part. So until you drop dead or you kick the bucket, who knows when that's going to happen. Live life as if tomorrow is going to happen. And this will not give you a scarcity mindset, because you're not worried. I need to eat as I eat for eternity or whatever. No, you can pace yourself, and you can enjoy the life and do life as if tomorrow going to happen. And you do some of the other things I'm going to say here this week. Encourage and celebrate others' success. So one of the things you need to do is encourage people to succeed, and celebrate when people succeed. This will kind of kill the selfishness and the jealousy and the envy inside of us. It will start killing it, destroy it. It will destroy it, because what it does, it make you start learning to be happy with people and encourage them to succeed. Because when people succeed, that means they're getting more resources. They're having more friends. They're living a more abundant life. They're having more money. They're having whatever. You need to encourage people to do this. You need to be happy. I'm happy when I see people making money, because I think, it's great, because they're doing well for themselves. They can take care of their bills, take care of their family, enjoy some vacation. So you take that attitude on, happy. I want to see people make money, and so look at life as, no, there's way more than for all of us. And so when you celebrate and feel happy when people like doing good for themselves, driving a new car. You ever seen somebody for the first time they get a new car, a newer car, even if it's a few years old, and you can just see the satisfaction on their face. I feel happy for them, and I like to see when people do that. Even just a new car, new house, and even if it's not a brand new house, but it's a new house for them, and you can see the joy and the satisfaction of hard labor. So you feel good for them. And so no, oh man, they have a new house. That's one less house for me. Can you imagine? They have a new house. That's one less house for me. It's like, no, they need 10 houses. It's like, I don't need that much. It's too much work. So collaborate, don't compete. Oh, so I won't be able to get through some of this, but I'll deal with them. As I say, I'll deal with each of these tomorrow. So collaborate with people, don't compete with people. Be thankful and show gratitude when you have what you have. It will help deal with this, scarcity, and it make you become abundant in your thinking. Advocate for others with less resources. So I learned to speak out for those that are poor. It's just better. It just do better for my personal mind. Support others getting more. As I say, volunteer, donate time, money, resources. When you donate, you're giving up some of yours. Be like the virtuous woman. Abstain, exercise self-control. You need to fast sometime. Instead of always eating, sometimes you need to like skip a meal, skip a day eating. You make you also feel thankful for what you have. And pray for others. You know, when you pray for others, and I'm going to pray bad for them, I mean pray good for them. It takes away out of the selfishness, and you realize that, say, you're blessed because you're praying for people who are suffering, people who are poor, and it make you thank the Lord that, man, I have a good health and some resources. Pray for people. Um, Live on less, save and invest money. That will show you that, say, you have even enough that you can even invest and you can save. That's good for you. Make you sure that, say, you have more resources than you probably need to spend each year, each month, each day. And meditate on scriptures. Meditate on scriptures about giving. So you start meditating. That's it. Instead of being in a situation where you're taking, you're giving out your resources. You'll be like that lady. She's a merchant ship. She's just selling the stuff. You're not trying to hoard the stuff and cause price hike and scarcity. You're trying to push it out in the market so you can make money by volume. We're going to go over some of these this week. Stick with me here this week as I try to bless us, bless you, bless myself, so we can live an abundant life. Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, I thank you for your word in this day. I pray, Lord, that we may live, dear Lord, an abundant life as you call us to live. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, thanks for being with me here on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you again live tomorrow where we should talk about finance. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.